Alan, thumbs up. We're live.
I'm Ben Chandler. I'm the chair of the State Board of Elections. This is the continuation of the June 3rd State Board of Elections meeting, and we have been in executive closed session. We are now hoping to return to open session, public session, and I would accept a motion to do so.
So moved.
Motion from Member Brangers to move into open session, a second from Member Russell. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed. All right, we are now back in open session. We have basically one item that we need to discuss, and Member Russell has a question that he wants to have answered. Member Russell, why don't you go first?
Okay, now that the postcards are hitting Jefferson, Bullitt, Meade, Kenton counties, and the numbers will start to grow quickly and number, if the executive director could every 2 or 3 days send us an email with the numbers on the portal, would be most helpful for our viewing.
Not a problem.
We get closer to election day.
Yep.
The counties that have early in-house voting, there are 3 or 4 counties that are, and how that is going, that would be helpful also.
Absolutely.
I think that's a great idea, George. I think it would be wonderful if we could get regular updates on where the numbers are. Be
Not a
super.
problem.
And my second question, I want to talk about election day. I know that we will gavel in at 6 a.m. with at least 4 members of the board present. My question will be, will we just leave the Zoom meeting on all day? And as items come up that we need to be aware of, some notice or some phone calls or whatever, I guess my question is, how do we work that out?
Right. I am open to suggestion, but my recommendation is that we treat it just like we would a normal election day, which is we have quorum at 6 a.m. We gavel in. We open the meeting and then gavel out of the meeting. The board will still be in session to be called in for public if necessary, which is what we do on a normal election day. From time to time, we can gavel in to approve poll worker emergencies or board member emergencies. And then at lunch, we'll have another official meeting, and then probably another one at the close of business at 6. But we can come on and off of Zoom, and we'll do just kind of like we do now, which is open a link live. Once we gavel out, we'll close the link down, and once we gavel back in, we'll immediately go in. We'll notify all the board members of when we plan to go live.
So that way we don't basically have to be on standby the entire time. We just need to have our phones available to be notified to get on a Zoom meeting at a particular time. If, for instance, we have to call one at 10 a.m. for some reason, everybody will be notified, and then we can get on the Zoom meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
But again, I'm open if someone has a different idea. I'm also okay with that. I think by the 23rd, we might also have some potential if someone wants to come into the office. We might have that as a potential, obviously within safety standards, but we will make a Zoom call available to any board member who wants to be in session by Zoom.
I think we ought to do it by Zoom, just plan to do it by Zoom in this particular election, given that we're having the election the way we are. Let's just do it that way.
Okay.
And then at 1 o'clock, have our regular meeting.
Yes. Full with all members present. That can.
And I have a request for Taylor also. Assuming election day, which we do not know right now, and we see the lines extra long in some of the larger counties, be prepared to go to circuit judges, or do we have that authority? Or is the individual county, is that their responsibility to ask for extra voting time if 500 people are in the voting line? I don't have the answer, but we need to be prepared. Who can do it and where and how?
Yeah, Jared, you and Taylor and the rest of the staff need to be thinking about that contingency, but also any other contingencies that might come up. We've got to try to be as prepared as we can for anything that can go wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Normally, if there's a line at 6 o'clock, then the sheriff of the precinct would go to the end of the line. Anybody in front of the sheriff would vote. Anybody that come in after would not be allowed to vote. So even if there are people in line, they would still be allowed to vote, whether it went to 11 o'clock. They still have the ability to vote.
I think it limits to 1 hour. I believe the statute limits to 1 hour. And we need to check that.
No, that's not correct, George. It's as long as, if they're in line at 6, they vote until they're finished.
Okay.
And under current law, the only person I think that can extend the voting hours is a federal or a judge. And then all votes taken after that are by provisional ballot. If those provisions still are in place for this primary, I don't recall any instance in the executive order where they would have been actually superseded.
And that is one of the things that we've tried to communicate with clerks is that, it's if you have the capacity to expand out and contract, depending on how much poll or how many people are showing up at the polls at any given time. A lot of the models we have are on perfect efficiency, which, clearly we know doesn't happen there. They come in waves and ebbs and flows. You have some downtime, and then all of a sudden a big, huge spike will come in. So the goal is to make sure that county clerks are giving themselves the ability to scale up and pivot if they start to see long lines and be able to bring in extra poll workers to after hours at end of work schedules. So the hope here is that, the clerks will be able to expand that if necessary to minimize the lines whenever possible.
All right.
Sabrina, James, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm sure you're more accurate than I am on that law because I got one other comment, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, George.
These counties, many of the medium-sized counties and the smaller counties do not realize how much work it's going to take to get the ballots out to the people that have requested them, because this has never been done before in the volume. I hope the staff can monitor the situation.
We're tracking that's one of the things that we're tracking now.
Okay.
What counties? So one of the things that we've been tracking the last couple of days is making sure that there are not outlier counties that are not facilitated. I mean, that is when we talked about there are extra security layers on this election. That is one of them. We have the ability to watch that ballots are being sent out in a timely way. Now, we understand that the clerks are under a tremendous amount of pressure and staffing resources and all the things that kind of go with that. But we will continue to work with those counties where we're seeing a little bit of lag time to make sure that they're keeping up with the amount of volume and flow that's coming in.
Sounds good.
All right, very good. Our next scheduled election will be June the 23rd, which is Election Day. We've already discussed how that's going to take place. With that, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion from Member Whitehouse. To have a second? Second by Member Brangers. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time today.